Welcome everybody to Gilbert regular city council meeting of May 27th, 2025. Call the meeting to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilor Toshnik. Present. Councilor Warren.
Here.
Mayor Overstar.
Here.
Councilor Skirvin.
Here.
Councilor Conlon.
Here.
Okay, for the record, it was 6 o'clock. Call to order. We have a quorum, we have a meeting, and everybody should rise and help me out with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mike, do we have any additions to the agenda?
I would like to add the Berja building permit. And I would like to add resolution 2025-09. That resolution relates to the DNR purchasing the property that we have at the Ridge Inn. They would be item D and E under new business.
Say D and E? D and E?
D and E.
D and E.
D, now,
Delta Echo.
I still have C. All right, we have two additions to the agenda. Steve Burriott, permit request, and resolution 2025-09, resolution authorizing the sale of the Ridge Inn property. Also, want to move to approve these two additions to the agenda.
I'll move the additions.
Support.
Moved by Councilor Skirvin, supported by Councilor Toshnik to add these two items to the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries, they are added. All right, consent agenda items, May 13th, regular meeting of 2025, minutes and working session, May 13th, minutes. Gilbert Water Light Board minutes of 5/16. And the check register of 5/10/2025 to 5/21/25. We didn't have any recommendations, but I think we took some of the recommendations from the Water Light Board already, we did, didn't we?
There is a recommendation to put out a call for the commercial refuse.
Well, that's not that up last night, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. So I think that one should be noted. I don't know if we want to put that back on our working session agenda.
Put an RFP on that, on our working session next time.
Yeah.
What is that other one, what, Salma House?
Bullet 4A.
Yeah.
They're paying a surcharge because they're not hooked up to the municipal sewer. And the surcharge reason was to give them some incentive to hook up. And now they don't wanna pay it because they wanna hook up. But the state statute says that if you're within 200 feet of a municipal sewer, you must hook up. We had nitrates in our water and it was coming from septic systems according to the person that checks the quality of our water. And this could be a potential violator of that. So we don't know for sure. But they need to get it on the municipal sewer. And they don't want to.
What's the distance between?
Their property line is within probably 30 or 40 feet of the municipal sewer.
No, they're over 200 feet from their house to the
What's that?
hookup.
It's not the house, it's the property line.
Well, the way this county ordinance reads is from the point of where you have to hook up, it has to be 200 feet or less. And they're
Property line.
beyond that maximum, so they got in touch with us, and we had a water line board meeting. I went out there and measured, and it's about 230 feet for them to hook up. So therefore, they're not, it's under the county ordinance or whatever it is, which states it's 200 feet. The city also has a ordinance for 200 feet or more,
Can we,
or less.
can we have that point reviewed by the city
Sure.
attorney? To see what the specific is. Is it property lines, or is it, building? And then we can make a decision on that.
Okay. Okay, the consent agenda, this other discussion, with the additional discussion, review we need with the
Right.
attorney, okay?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I think we,
These items.
you wouldn't agree, right? You already did that, didn't you?
Nope.
Oh, that was addition, okay. Move by Councilor Skrillex, supported by Councilor
I'll second that.
Second by Councilor Horn. I'm just gonna say, Councilor Horn, to approve the consent agenda with additional concerns of review by the city attorney on the water line board minutes. Insert item 4A. All in favor, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, public input. Anybody in the audience tonight have anything you'd like to discuss with the council other than what's on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll continue on. Reports by mayor and council. Councilor Bertocci.
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Horn.
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Skrillex.
I'd just like to thank everybody who showed up for the flower planting this week, the cemetery cleanup, which I understand was a pretty large crowd, and also to the members of the VFW post for putting on the Memorial Day ceremony. Special thanks to the Public Works Department for supporting all three of those things. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to have any of those, so thank you. And then the other one is I just wanted to bring up a brief conversation about that I had with a constituent earlier this week about how our meeting minutes are presented. I explained to the individual kind of how things are done. The concern was it wasn't apparent to them which of the councilors voted for which item. And I explained that when it's unanimous, MCU, shows on there. But it was a pretty good discussion, and I think her points are valid that, to have a name associated with a yes or no is more illuminating to our constituency.
Normally, if the mayor wants to call the vote and have each council member's vote recorded on a controversial or particularly important issue, they'll do that, but most cities do the all in favor, or the, don't call each one. Or when somebody votes against something, it is recorded as,
It's always recorded
the
as
person who voted
Or
against it
abstained.
is recorded, but everybody else will be recorded as a yes. So it's up to you guys if you want to start voting differently.
I just, I wanted to bring it up for discussion just because a constituent brought it up to me. And I think it's always a fair discussion if they don't understand what is in the public record, if there's a way for us to make it more clear.
I don't know why I've been doing this job for 17 years now, and I've done it right. If I needed a roll call vote on everything that we were updating, we go first, if it's a unanimous vote, there's no negative discussion on it, it's unanimous. If I see hear from abstain, like you told me abstain, we abstain, it's noted, and it should be seen on there that I said Councilor Skrillex abstained, or Councilor Horn voted no. I will say that. I know what I'm doing up here.
And it's not anything.
I know I don't know what that,
It
sounds like it
it was the constituents. Honestly, we had a very long conversation around the initials MCU. The individual had never seen that before. And it's one of the dangers in using abbreviations, so maybe if we could spell that out, maybe that would be helpful.
Sure.
You know, and that's, I mean, once I kind of explained it to them, they're like, oh, okay, now I understand it. But it's, not everybody speaks in government speak,
Totally get it, Paul.
so.
You know, for sure.
well, it's in the minutes, if you read the minutes, you know. And that is, let's see that as council. What else? Okay, anything else?
That's all I got.
Councilor Bodnar.
I don't have anything.
I just want to thank everybody again. Public Works did a fine job up at the cemetery, cleaned it up the past week, get ready for Memorial Day. The PA system will have to be brought up. We don't have one up there, so somebody bought a mobile, I think the BMW bought a mobile unit up there and that went BO. So we have issues with that. We should sometimes take a look at that conversation somewhere down the road. Thank you to the cemetery board, getting volunteers, about a dozen or so, took care of the cemetery, cleaned it up real nice. VFW with the flags up and all the grave sites and also on the poles. It was a good turnout, it was a good day, other than the PA system. It's not working. And I don't know if did we tell Sam, Mike, that we can sound like the council made a consensus that it was okay to go buy some paint, to do the paint on Main Street?
He has been told that. That discussion needs to, we need to, like, it all started with the ones up at the school that are, you know, aren't up there. Can't be there anymore because there's no school there. You might want to grade paint and
I talked about
yeah,
that, you did
and
too.
then the other ones, if you start painting on Main Street, it's going to be yearly maintenance stuff. If you're comfortable with ones that are currently marked being repainted, that would be fine. If you want to paint everyone in town, all over the place, that could create a maintenance issue.
Talking mostly the bump outs right now, there's about 6 or 7 of
Well,
them.
he'd like clarification on exactly what everybody's talking about, so he can project what it would take to do it, because we talked about it, and if you start it, you start an annual maintenance project. If there are ones that you need done because they're handicapped and they, by law, have to be done, those could be freshened up, but you'll have to decide how far you want them to go, because with their limited resources, how many can they realistically do? So
I guess we didn't do that direction
we
yet.
didn't give them enough direction, exactly where you'd like it. If you'd like to do more than what you currently have done, why don't you make a list? I will tell them what's currently done if you'd like to correct that.
The council, we're okay with that?
I have a question on the handicap. Is a blue curb sufficient, or does it have to be on the pavement?
No, the by law, it should really be on the pavement with a stencil,
Yeah,
and the curb should be painted, and theoretically, put a sign in there too. But if you put signs, then they can't plow snow in there.
yeah.
So they have been putting the stencil and the blue curb.
But just the blue curb isn't enough.
I don't know. I would guess under the American with Disabilities Act or whatever, it probably requires all the above and possibly illumination too.
My understanding is no sign, no fine. So, this has already been settled in court. No sign,
Yeah.
no fine, no ticket. You don't have a sign, that blue on down there don't mean nothing. If I park there, you can't find me.
Most people are considering, most people are considering. Yeah.
Alright, but I'm saying, if I park there, no ticket could be awarded to me. I don't have a sign. No sign, no fine. We've been through that before. So,
Well, Sam's asking for a more detailed direction. We can certainly spruce up the ones that are done, but
Well, I think the bump outs are the obvious ones. Because the reason why the state required us to have those was because our main street was so wide that we wanted to have a shorter distance to cross. So I think we have to, those ones were kind of handed to us from the state. So I think there's that. If there's a way for us to deter, correct, whatever you want to call it, the practice of people parking on that corner of the bump out, creating a parking space that is not there, that would be helpful. I don't know if it's, rectangling it off and, putting, the no parking lines or whatever on there. I don't know the correct terminology, but I think that would be part of the bump out maintenance.
sure.
So, yeah, and then the only, I know we've got a request from the dental office for a handicap. The VFW has one in front, a space in front of them, that we're supposed to maintain. And then the only other one that I can think of on Main Street is right here in our city hall parking lot.
Post office.
Oh, post office, yeah. So those are the ones that we should maintain.
I'll talk to Sandy, who will take care of it.
if you're talking about the curb, that's what comes down for handicap, that's up to the highway department.
I think in all of those locations that exists, except for here.
That, I would have to.
Yeah, we put a curb cut in there, that's an option.
No, that's up to the highway department,
Yeah.
we have to approach them for that. They did that over there.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the direction, and then get that,
I think I have it memorialized here.
all right? We'll go down to unfinished, we'll go down to, reports of staff and board. We need any more from our fire chief to discuss? Mark?
Hey, good evening again. I'll give you a little update on what's going on in the fire department. We're currently at 21 members with 19 fully trained, and our 2 newest are waiting for the next class, which I don't know when it's gonna come, because, like I said before, volunteerism is going down and every department is struggling to find people to fill their positions. So far this year, we've had 20 page calls, 5 structure fires, 1 vehicle fire, and 14 miscellaneous, which are 2 smoke in the area, 1 power line down, 1 gas leak, 1 automatic alarm, 1 partial building collapse, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 2 water main breaks, 2 elevators stuck, and a lift assist.
Turn the mic on, turn the mic on.
And it keeps going in and out. We've had 9 trainings, and we have 3 new faces on here, so I'll just kind of explain that. First Monday of every month, we have a training night, the first half, at our business meeting. And then the 4th Wednesday of every month, we do a tri-city training. We train with Gilbert, Fail, and Evelyn, and we'll be holding that tomorrow night at the arena, and oddly enough, it's SCBA training tomorrow night. We're preparing for the 3rd of July and the call for the cure, which are coming up. The big Brimson fires, which were going on, we sent engine 2 up for 3 full days of 14 hours a day, doing structure protection with 4 firefighters each day, taking time off their primary job and going up there full day, 14 hours. DNR, we'll be getting a reimbursement for that. The DNR for that engine, a Type 1 engine, it's $275 an hour minus, but they recommend you pay the firefighters, which is $25 an hour. So realistically, the engine makes $175 an hour, times over 42 hours. So that engine made $7,350. But out of there, unfortunately, the second day on the way down there, we blew a tire down in Independence in Inner Dooley. Thankfully, one of our neighboring departments, a friend of mine, we made a phone call. He had a tire on a rim, threw it in his truck. Took time out of his morning to do that, brought a jack. Our city mechanic met him down there, and they were able to change it and get us by, but we had ended up having to get that tire fixed, and by the recommendation of our city mechanic and Pump's Tire, they recommended getting all new tires on that engine. They were 25 years old, original tires on there. So that bill came to just a touch over $4,100. So yes, all in all, that fire paid for them. We got new tires, plus we made some money on that deal. For any future big wildland fires, I mean, it's great for local departments to send people up there and try to make some money for the city. Unfortunately, any Type 1 engine that's 25 years, older than 25 years old, it starts getting the deduct, so it'd be a 10% deduct. So looking forward in the future, I think we'll send a Type 6 engine up there, which is a brush truck. We weren't able to because we didn't have enough of our guys, S-130 and S-190 wildland qualified. We're gonna try to hold that in-house training this winter and get all our firefighters trained up for that, so any event like that, we can send them on up there. One thing I wanna bring up, Saturday we had kind of a significant accident at the OHV park, and I just want to say what a great response we've had and unified command with our Gilbert Police Department, Fire Department, First Responders, Virginia Ambulance, St. Louis County Rescue Squad. The DNR was out there, Conservation Officer, along with Lifeline 3. It went great. Our PD officer got out there fairly quick, got escorted out to the victim by the victim's brother. I was on scene next. I was able to hop in with the game warden. Medics were able to hop in on the UTV from the sheriff brought, and I got everything out there, and the rest of our fire department set up a landing zone out there and got the bird landed, and everything went really smooth. You know, in instances like that, thankfully this wasn't one of them, but, you know, the fellow was hurt, but not life-threatening. But in a case like that, we need to be quick, and that's what needs to happen, so.
All your training paid off.
Yes. So thank you to all them
Thank you.
different agencies that showed up for that. And lastly is what we talked about, the air pack. Like I said in the meeting there, it is a state bid. It's under the state bid price. No payment till next year, and if we lose out on this, the price is going to go way up due to tariffs. But I understand what you guys are up against, and I don't have an answer for you. I just, you know, this stuff happens. It's cost of doing business. Me as a department head of the department, I don't feel safe sending in these volunteer firefighters into a fire that has a great chance of this air pack failing on.
You say $217,000 for, at how much a year, for how many years?
So you can either do a 5-year or a 7-year, both at 5.29%. If you were at the 5-year, you're looking at $50,537.24. If you do a 7-year at the 5.29%, you're looking at $39,906.92. Now, there's some offsetting prices. We don't have to do the yearly maintenance on them, obviously, that first year because they're brand new. We don't have to do the tank testing on them, so that saves us a couple $1,000s. You know, the extra we got here, I don't know, I'm just trying to pull stuff out of the hat, but.
Okay, we'll take that under new business. Any questions for Mark, other than the packs?
Mark, you said you have to fill 22 seats with air packs, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then you only have 21 this year.
21 firefighters,
After they train.
21 seats.
What's the requirement for a town of this size? How many do you mandatorily have to have?
For a town this size, it actually calls for 25 firefighters. We've never been to that number.
So is there a minimum that's allowable, and then if
If
you don't make the minimum, what happens?
If you're under 10 firefighters, you're out of business.
So, what I'm saying is, can we reduce our force down to like, say, 18, and have 18 seats filled with packs? I'm just throwing stuff out there, I'm not saying you have to do it, but in order to reduce the cost of all these air packs. Because if we're gonna be combining with these other towns, and, you know, when you're helping each other at these fires, you know, and you happen to get 10 from each, you got 20 guys on duty there. You might have a surplus of people, I don't know, you tell me if it's that way, like a garage fire or something. I'm just throwing things out there to see if
I
we can
agree.
save a few
I
dollars.
mean, we can look at reducing that number
Yeah,
for now, because we have 6 that are fairly new, but we're looking at selling them because it's gonna be quite a headache. We're gonna have, every time we come to fill them, we're gonna have to label them somehow. Because if we set our compressor up to 4,400 PSI, and we pump 2,200s up, that's gonna be an explosion, so we have to watch, and it's hard to do both of them, but we can put them other 6 on the back burner and maybe look at next year purchasing more, but we're looking at a heck of a lot more per pack.
and they never go on sale from a company that, or a fire department that does go out of business.
They're on sale right now, so it's,
I mean, as far as
big
used
purchases.
ones that are maybe a year old.
yeah, purchases like that are on the state bid.
Yeah.
Also, hard.
Are your cylinders like color coded or anything that you talked about if you pump too much into a cylinder?
No,
that's not rated?
right now, every one of them is the 2,200 PSI.
But do they come color coded? So like how would, 2 groups come to the scene with different equipment?
They're a little bit bigger.
Okay. Because I'm just trying to figure out, is there workarounds for safety reasons like that?
It's not that. When we come back, we're gonna have to keep switching back and forth the compressor, which takes time to recalibrate the set. I mean, it's doable, but right now, over half our packs are out of service. That's where we're at. It's not from lack of trying on grants. I'm looking for grants all the time. My whole department is, and that's not always been the practice on this department. This department has come a long way in the last so many years and looked at as one of the top departments up here, and I hate to come tomorrow and lose half of the department because they don't feel safe. That's not fair.
All right, thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you.
City attorney is not present. Police chief, Thai teacher.
Not being your council.
Working? I don't know.
Whole system.
Anyways, I'll just talk about, we had a fairly busy weekend. Obviously 18 was a big weekend. We stopped 71 ATVs for various violations. During our ATV patrol, we made 2 DUI arrests on ATVs. Our highest was a .30, which is almost 4 times the legal limit. That was at 1:30 in the afternoon. And our second DUI was just over a 1-1 at 11:30 in the morning. During that crash, we were unfortunately tied up in the jail with one of our DUI arrests. So our dedicated ATV patrol officer was not at the crash, he was in jail. So we were running pretty rampant. Slow year though, we only saw 400 ATVs just over, which is kind of a low number. We usually see between 600 and 700. Both those DUI arrests were on Highway 97 and were trail crosses. That's where we made the 2 arrests just in that area. We only had 2 ATV crashes, which that's low for us. Usually we have anywhere from 3 to 7 on this weekend, so it was a good weekend. So overall, it was a good weekend. If you want to see, I've got a couple quick videos of us chasing a couple people high on meth through one of our campgrounds. And so it's been kind of a average month, I guess, for activity. And the only thing I have is I would like to have a hearing set for the next council meeting for an abatement hearing for that property on Lower New York Avenue. The city attorney just provided me proper paperwork to start that process. So I'd ask that either you have it like at 5:45 prior to the council meeting, or I think you can do it during the regular council meeting, but I think you have to recess the regular council meeting and
We have,
go into a public hearing.
that's my question, but I think we have the variance, and is that gonna be ready for that time?
I believe we will, Carl.
So,
We'll take care of it, we'll procedurally get it put together.
well, we'll say we can start at 5 o'clock. Start with a variance, start with his abatement, and have the working session at 5:30, we should. If we have a working session, fine, we don't.
Check the details, Carl, I think you need to do it either specifically post it at a different time, which is possible,
Right?
or do it within the council meeting, because it would be posted. with
Each
our
one
agenda.
has,
I'll check and see what we can do, Carl.
each one needs to be posted for the specific time, understand that. Unless the council wants to come earlier, but if we're gonna keep the 5 to 7:30 thing here, I'm trying to leave the regular meeting alone as it is, and work through the working session time from 5 to 6, something. I know the abatement might not, there's no, so just amount of time, we know when we're gonna start and when we're gonna finish an abatement. Even with the variance, we might start and who knows how long it's gonna take to finish that. We might not have good time for a working session. I was for going to working session versus the other 2 anyway.
I'll make sure we're compliant.
We could always take the items of the working session into the regular meeting. You could have them in the new business area, okay? So we'll just take that hour that we set aside for working session to work on the abatement and the variance. My suggestion. Anything else for Ty teacher?
I've got a question. So Ty, we talked a little bit this week about the wonderful topic of dynamic braking and jake braking, etc. We do have a city ordinance against it, but we have not gone forward and put up signs. My understanding is Highway 97, Highway 37, and Highway 135 should all have signs on them indicating we have an ordinance against that. What's the process and what is it?
So we have a couple signs up already. Sam has ordered additional signs to put at the entrance to all of our communities. We have one on 97, we have one coming on 135 from the west.
Yeah,
But we do not have it covered technically by statute on the east side and on the south side of 37.
I saw that 97 sign, you know, and I saw the one you have up here by the holiday. I mean, it's so small, if you don't have good eyes, and
Yeah, Sam's making a bigger one, so,
a lot bigger, yeah.
yeah.
And then, but the one on 97, it doesn't say jake braking, it says noise violations will be.
It should say dynamic braking.
It doesn't.
It does not.
No, it says noise violations will be.
Okay, so yeah, by statute, it has to either say dynamic braking, jake braking, or vehicle noise laws enforced. Those are kind of the three statutory ones that we usually put up. I'm not sure what Sammy ordered along those lines, but we are getting bigger signs. We have had complaints. Ironically, I took a text message this afternoon about Jake breaking on Main Street, so from a business owner. So the issue is going to be this. So starting June 2nd, which is next week, we are looking at an additional 500 semis per day coming down on Main Street. MnDOT has made when they shut down 53 on June 2nd, the truck route is going through Gilbert. They are not going through the detour. So we're going to see an additional probably 500 trucks. You're looking at the 500 trucks, looking at some of the traffic statistics, you're looking at around 70-80% of those trucks are traveling between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So you're looking at about 45 trucks an hour during that 12-hour period. Evenings obviously it thins out, but I think the highest will be 45 trucks an hour. So you're looking at just over a truck a minute, just over a minute coming on Main Street. So I work with MnDOT, trying to get some commercial vehicle enforcement too. The Jake braking, I have spoken to 3 contractors, told them, tell your drivers, I was actually up at one of the drivers' meetings for Union Brothers, and they put the word out, and they've actually been very good. There was more of the speed stuff that we're dealing with. We're also monitoring their cameras, overloads. So on the camera that's mounted on the north side of town, we can see into the truck, so we can actually see if they're overloaded or not. So, and every time I see one, even if I don't catch it, I take a picture of it, I send it to the contractor, basically tell them to knock it off. So I think we're getting a little bit better handle on that. The Jake braking isn't so much the actual contractors, it's the contract trucks. They tend to run, I guess when you see a sleeper cab truck pulling a side dumper, they're generally not, I don't know how to put it, the most mechanically quiet machines, because you just don't usually see sleeper cabs pulling these things. So we're trying to get over the handle, and we'll have that throughout the summer. But I think we started a couple tickets for that, and we'll get a handle on it. So. But I'm keeping right now, I keep track of every truck that comes through town. I get the license plate, I also get a picture of the overhead of the truck. So we're keeping pretty good eyes on the truck right now. And we know it's going to be a lot worse starting next week. So.
It's already unbearable.
Yeah, well, it's going to get worse.
Every day, every day.
So one thing on those signs, I don't know if they have lighted signs, like, lights around them like some stop signs do, because I don't know if these truckers are gonna see them, even if unless it's identified with some lights, with a solar light on it, and like the stop signs, you see some are lit.
Yeah, and that's
Something like that to get their attention, at least until they're done using our truck route here.
Yeah, it'll be expensive for us to purchase. However, under statute, these truckers know that when they come to communities that they have the responsibility to know if Jake braking, dynamic braking is legal. We post the signs to meet our statutory obligation, but generally, when you pass your Class A, your CDL now, you are notified. Part of it is that every city generally has a noise ordinance. So when they come into a municipality, they should be able to understand that there's dynamic braking. So I did do some research on that, because again, the signs are not cheap. If we want to go and purchase those with this thing, but those are going to be probably $500 a piece, maybe more. I don't know.
With the lighted ones or something?
Yeah, because you have the battery hookups and
Solar,
yeah, solar stuff like that. So I'm sure they're $500. The signs themselves, I think, are those ones that we put up there. They are small. I agree. You can't see them, but those were like $25 a piece. So I'm sure the next one would be $100 a piece at least. So.
I don't know, it's just a thought,
Yeah, no,
because
and
truckers are looking at the road, they're, they might need a little more or something to get their attention to the sign.
I think the bigger signs that we get, and I haven't seen one on 97, I'll go look too, but like the moderately sized ones that are legible, readable kind of thing. If we can get them at all of the entrances, again, to the point of no sign, no fine, right? We have to tell them that first. So that's the first step, and then I think just continuing to stay on this issue, because it's going to be a long summer for a lot of residents on those highways.
Well, yeah, and then of course, I think I told somebody to put them on our city entrance signs, because if we put them anywhere else, we have to relocate, we have to put the sign ourselves, stuff like that. So I'm trying to put them on our actual Gilbert signs, rather than having to put in new signs, because then we have to locate everything else before we have common posters.
the 97 that you're talking about, that's why the second Sparta cutoff, I think that should be at the first Sparta cutoff on that corner.
Yep,
You know,
what it was.
to let them know there.
Coming down that hill.
Yeah,
Yep, coming
and
down.
then going up the hill and down the hills,
And the
and
other
we'll let them
one,
know there. And the other side, Ely Lake Drive.
yeah,
area.
the other one by the KGM, plant or pit,
Yeah,
that
Soggy
one,
Spit.
that one appears to have intentionally been taken out. So if he gets a little steer, at least we'll leave a mark in the truck, so.
And I don't know about, you know, if that happens again, as far as purchasing a beam camera or whatever, you know, they're fairly cheap now, you know, to get a, catch somebody, it could be a big fine, but I don't know.
Do you have to get highway department permits for that?
We were just doing it, so. I think given the situation we're dealing with, we're not going to the process. We can go on our sign and put it on there, I think it's become a major issue, so.
On our own signs already that are up already.
Yep. 97 for our own, so.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for you then, Mike, both. This is in the May, we're getting close to July. Are the permits for the parade on the street and insurance and everything for the dance and the parades, 3rd of July parade, 4th of July parade in the morning, are everything done? Or is it in process, or what's the deal?
Yeah, we have submitted to MnDOT the parade permits, along with, we have not heard from the board. I spoke with a couple farmers today. They are submitting letters for the next council meeting, because they would like to have a street dance on the night of the 4th. So I'm submitting that at this time to MnDOT, just so that as a heads up. I have a feeling MnDOT may have a few more, we're gonna have to make some changes with the route. One of the main reasons, unfortunately, we're going to send them all the way down Sherwood Forest all the way around. Normally in the street dance, we try to ship them down Iowa and
I have all these.
Nebraska. And our road down here was not going to hold up the truck traffic, so we're going to have to send them all the way down and around. So, yeah, it's going to be a cluster.
When you say down the ground, is that Sherwood Forest Drive?
Sherwood Forest all the way around up Dakota.
I see they put it on the crew that wall.
Yeah, Sam is working on trying to get that collapse, that collapse there, right where the storm sewer cuts across. So I know that will be hopefully filled in, but unfortunately that road isn't going to get beat up. But I don't know that we're just going to cancel it in July. I think it's the 50th, isn't it, or 75th this year. I don't want to deal with the riots if we don't have a parade, but that road's going to get beat up for them, so. We'll be sending every truck down that road for both those nights.
We cannot hold the traffic back for that time?
Yeah, we can't hold traffic at 5 hours. If we shut the road down at 5:30 and we open it up after the fireworks, that's 5 hours. We can't stop traffic at 5 hours.
That city road or county?
That's Sherwood Forest. That's city. So, yeah, but we have to, if we shut down the highway, we make a request for a permit, we have to have a detour set up for that. So
Is there a load limit on that road? See?
I don't know if the city, city,
Because those trucks, if they're going coming through, they're going to know the load limit.
more than likely, and then they can't go down 53 because of the detour.
What time do we usually shut that?
We usually shut the road down between 5:30 and 6, parades at 7.
So 3rd of July, we're talking basically 2 hours of truck traffic. You're not gonna keep hauling that after 7 o'clock on the 3rd of July.
Well, you gotta realize you got all the trucks coming from Canada. 53 is a major funnel for all the, yeah, so you have the commercial traffic for the food trucks, mostly overnight truckers are traveling after 5 p.m. So over the roads.
You can have no parking on that road.
Yeah, we don't have any parking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, are we gonna get any benefit of the holiday and, less truck traffic over a holiday like that?
I would hope, well, the 3rd might be a little bit more unusual, but the 4th, we think there would be a little truck traffic, because a lot of these are closed.
You got a couple of stop signs on there, and a couple of culverts that, where the east on that.
Oh, you got some built-in speed bumps there.
That'll slow them down.
I'm going to slow down.
So is that permit right now for the third evening and the fourth morning?
For fourth evening and also for the street dance, which would be from 7, well, they usually the road shut down around 7-ish to start at 8 o'clock at midnight, so. And again, usually the fourth, that night of the fourth is pretty quiet, there's not a lot of traffic. But the third's gonna be a circus, for sure.
Okay, how about the insurance part of it? We have a form for all the,
Yeah, the League of Minnesota City, we have a $3 million, I'm the one that carries the policy, because I'm the one that holds the permit for the, so if something goes wrong, it's on me.
the insurance,
Yeah.
the waiver, leaving the city out of it, liability?
No,
We're talking about, you're talking about the state with the city, I'm talking about the city with the bar owner.
that's, I don't know, I don't deal with that,
There's a
so.
form for that, it's been going on for years now. Should be
We
continuing.
filled them all out last year, Carl, and we've already started notifying bar owners that they need to get their paperwork in.
Very good, that's all I'm asking, make sure we got that covered.
Perfect. So, yeah, we'll play, but we'll get through it. We'll do it here.
The extra officers or the police?
So, no, I'm working with Evelyn a little bit. Evelyn's shorthanded on the third, so we're gonna try to provide more help on the third. Our problem is we've got the night parade in by Wabick at the same time as the street dance. So we're gonna be a little thin for a little bit, so I'll probably be asking help from the fire department to shut down the roads for us. I don't have any squad cars to shut down the roads either. We'll have 2 over by Wabick. We usually do the third with our squad to bring them over by Wabick and then bring it back. I'll have a 2-hour period where I won't have the squad cars go block the roads off, so hopefully the fire department can provide at least one. I've got one extra vehicle, I can fly sets of nights as long as they do, statutory vehicles. So it's gonna be a busy year for us. Normally the street dance isn't on the fourth, that's the problem. It's the first time I've been before, so.
Okay, can somebody tell me who's putting on the fourth parade, kitty parade for the city? Is that a private party again?
I've heard nothing about it.
Anybody know that? The kitty parade is historically is Gilbert's problem, city, we either do it or we don't. And with the rec department, when we had a rec department, before we went to the joint rec department, the rec department always handled that for the city. And then we went to the joint rec department, so no more rec department, so a private party took over. Unfortunately, I'm talking about the fourth now. No, I have not heard of Mr. Addy that his family is doing again, none. Otherwise, we need to find some department in the city to handle that, or we don't do it, one or the other. And we, so historically, we've always had a kitty parade. And I've always asked, if Mr. Addy's took a year off, and 2 years now, I did it, I got a bunch of volunteers to help me the last year of 2022. And I guess Mayor Smith did it as well last year or the year before, whatever. So I don't know what's going on with Mr. Natty, but I know if we're gonna have it, we need to get, I wanna know who's gonna put it on. Otherwise I'm obligated to find somebody to do it. Mark?
Yeah, the last 3 years, I don't believe there has been someone, it's just been volunteers. I know we helped you a couple of years ago and Tom Smith the last 2 years.
Okay.
And we've had like 5 or 6 off the fire department, some PD and, Rosanna Mirza and Mary Jo Primozic and a couple others have been helping to do it. So we've got by, but yeah, I don't think nobody's in the spot of being in charge.
I know the stuff is back here in the room. Mr. Addy has always been doing the banking, collecting the money and getting the money for that day as far as handing out the money. He's got a whole list of how many ones you need, and how many fives you need, and how many coins you need. So, and his bank account is still under his name. So, I don't know if he's not relinquishing that over to the city yet. And he'll give that, I guess, to whoever's putting on the parade. So, I guess you're gonna get the permit, and I'm gonna have to be finding some people to do the parade that day. All right.
Carl, I'll definitely help out with the kitty races and stuff like that, and I help with the judging of some of the stuff, so I'll definitely help out with that. So if we need to do a call to the community for volunteers, we can certainly do that. I think, social media is pretty easy to do that. I think you get some people. I'd love to see if the fire department would be able to volunteer a couple folks. I know that some of them helped us out with the races last year
Yeah.
and stuff like that, so,
Definitely.
You know, 8 people,
yeah.
8 people. Not a whole army. And we need the advertising being done by our friend Mike here. Kitty parades, is that, what's that, 10 o'clock?
What day and what time?
So it's usually the morning of the 4th of July, 10 o'clock.
We try to do 11 o'clock, 2 reasons, we have the Biawaka Kitty Parade, so there's only 2 of us out. I usually have officers help for 22 hours, I keep them out for 22 hours straight, but they have to go home and sleep for at least 6 hours, so there's only 2 squads, so we do the Biawaka Parade, and then do the Kitty Parade, and we usually burn back over here, and generally we're usually waiting, because they usually wait on the Rock Ridge Band to get done with the 4th of July Parade in Evelyn, which is usually around 11 o'clock, so clients usually around 10 o'clock, the parade usually get moving until 10:45, 11, so.
Okay.
So we get 11 and then the race is at 12.
Yeah, it can be 11:30, that parade only takes 10 minutes.
All right, well, we got some more time to look, but most of the important thing right now is get the permits ongoing
Yeah, we'll be fine.
and the insurance process going, and we can work on the manpower.
It would be helpful if we could also coordinate to some degree with the 3rd of July committee, so that, that they're kind of talking about the whole, because they have the whole week plan, it'd be nice if they could also include 4th of July kitty parade in there. Even though I know that it's a sensitive topic, but, we as a city can also be promoting all of their stuff if we come together and agree with this.
Usually the flyer was, last year, kitty parade was in the utility bill as well as 3rd of July, and send money in.
Yeah.
Volunteers can go on a ticker board up here, electric board, and whoever wants to call me, Mark, please tell me how many firemen you can get, and we can go from there.
We'll have a handful for sure.
Moving on, city engineer, nothing to report. Here, public works, Sam, nothing to report, campground host. Had a chance to meet with our new campground host down there this weekend. Very satisfied with the people down there, things are going well. I told them that they represent Gilbert down there. First, for the new people come to Gilbert, camping, they're Gilberts. And we would depend on them to be good hosts. Library, first responders, city administrator, Mike.
We've already said this, but I just wanted to thank Public Works and all the cemetery committee, they got everything ready up there. The trees coming down, they all came together to get it prepared, and it was really nice. Also, the flower planting, we appreciate it. And then I had 2 announcements to make for Public Works. We're gonna start hydrant flushing May 29th. That'll take 3 to 4 weeks, so if your water's rusty, run it for a while, but that's something you do annually. And then the large trash pickup, they wanted to change the dates a little bit, so it'll be sign up by June 18th, and pickup will be June 23rd through the 27th for anybody who has signed up for that. And we'll get that posted too. That's all I have.
Okay, anybody got any questions for Mike?
Yeah, I have one actually.
So Mark?
Last council meeting, we talked about having you meet with Public Works Director and kind of coming up with a game plan for the city of what kind of maintenance needs to get done in the next, 3 to 6 months. Do you know if Sam's made any progress on that maintenance plan?
I think he is. The things that I asked him for were the highest priority requests and been taken care of. And I continue to talk to him about that. I would hope that if there's anything that's a priority for any council member, please send me an email on it, and then I'll work with Sam to nudge him along and keep that project moving.
One question about the flags, American flags that we normally fly. I thought they've always been up on Memorial Day, and so they're still not up. I don't know if that can be a scheduled calendar event that, you know, year after year should, I feel it should be up by Memorial Day, but we're back to needing a schedule.
And that's really good, Bob,
Yeah.
because if you'd like to see that annualized, and
Yeah.
there are things that people here would like to see, Christmas decorations up at the stadium.
Yeah.
These ones up, send them to me in email, and then I will go over an annual calendar
Right.
to Sam.
Yeah.
That way it's kind of laid out there. And I think it's a really good idea.
Thanks.
I have one question. I don't know if we have to formally pass a motion here. I see that the students, high school students, pictures are graduating, people are on electrical power lines, power lights on Main Street. And usually they come forward to the council meeting and ask for that, and is that just an automatic thing now? And we have to formally okay that for our legal insurance wise?
Carl, the last couple of years, they just asked when we could put them up and brought them here. We would not put them up unless they had a release from each student. We coordinated that with Ty to make sure we're covered legally, so that's how it's been happening,
Okay,
that I've seen.
right, as long as that's been happening,
Yeah.
we're fine.
And on that subject, you know, instead of them mounting them up on the flagpoles, we've got the boards right next to the library there. I think that would be a more appropriate place. You can see them, you know, it takes less time to hang them on those boards over there. Than just climbing the poles and starting them up there.
The white fence?
Yeah, that might, thanks, it could be a good background for, I don't know, what is there, 10 of them or whatever? There's not many graduates who be over there anymore.
Well, that's thought, but typically they ask what they want.
I know, but I mean, you know, it saves on labor costs for the city by putting them over there. I don't know, it's just a thought.
As long as that paperwork has been taken care of, usually it's in a formal motion, okay on that, based on all that. You wanna be legal about it, and no liabilities about
You're in a good place, Carl.
it, okay? All right, moving on, old business, fire department airbag discussion. Again, council, I think it's very important that we do this. Not knowing how we're gonna fund it right now, it's, yeah, sure, but I think we have to jump on it and take advantage of the price right now. We cannot wait till next year. If we get a partnership going between Phil and Gilbert with Gilbert with fire departments, we have to act on it now. And we don't have to pay till next year, so we got time to find some sources of funding. I don't wanna see any fire department fatality because of this issue. I wanna take advantage of the price and get it done. So I'm ready to step off the chair and hand the chair over to Councilor Bertoshnik and make a motion that we approve the amount 22 air packs to McQueen for an amount of $217,056.86 at a 7-year payment plan of $37,906.92 for 7 years. And that's the package that I make a motion that the city of Gilbert authorizes.
I'll second that motion so that we can have a discussion.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Do we have time for discussion?
I guess the one thing that I don't like the price, I don't like the fact that I feel like we have a gun to our head, but at the same time, I can't within good conscience justify any volunteer in our fire department having an injury or fatality because we don't have the right working for them. I understand all of the arguments that are put in front of us in terms of the size of them, and I've been trying in my head to come up with a way that would be a cheaper, more economical way. I don't know that there really is anything. I very reluctantly support this, but I just don't see any other way for us to get this done. They're old. I mean, what's the price we're put on somebody's house and the lives that are in those homes? I can't put a price on it.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to add something to that. I agree with Paul. I think that, yes, the ones we have need to be replaced. I 100% agree with that. Where I personally sit right now is we are being given one model, one manufacturer, one price. This is a different system than what we currently use. This is a different system than we've used for the last 20 years from what we've been told by our fire chief here. I would be curious, instead of upgrading to the next best thing, is there anything in our budget that is like the equipment we currently use that is also new? Therefore, it's been tested, it's been through the rigmarole. Is there anything with the smaller tanks? I understand your reasoning why you want to upgrade to larger tanks for longevity. I 100% get that. But for the last 20 years, we've been safely battling fires with the smaller tanks that we currently use. Is there something in between where, we can meet in the middle? That's what I say.
If I may, just so you guys know, I brought this forward to you back in a working session also. I went ahead and did the budget for the next 5 years for the fire department, where I was able to adjust different things. Obviously, we have some different maintenance stuff that we have to do, but if you take out the ladder bond, we're at 148,000 for next year. Last year, I believe we were at, not this past year, we were at 97,000, like around that area, but the year before, I believe we were at 125, so it wasn't much more than that. And going forward, we should be in a better place because we have been, in the last 6 years that I've been chief, turning out, like our turnout gear, 2 to 3 sets a year, because they're only good for 10 years. So we're in a better place today there, and I think going forward with this, we're going to be in a better place going forward on everything because we are rotating it out. It wasn't practiced in the past, so I just wanted to throw that in.
Did you just say in one of the sessions that the law changed 2-3 years ago, what the 20-year thing?
No, that's coming, the federal government, OSHA is coming out with a bang on PD, fire departments, EMS groups, public works. It's been in place, most of the laws have been in place since 2018, they just haven't enforced them. So there's more stuff coming. I believe that we're ahead of the game on that because we've kind of been doing that practice already. A lot of it is fire reports and logging or trainings and all that stuff. It's the other stuff that could come, like the exhaust system in a fire department, hooking up, that's something we can't get around. Obviously, we're not gonna do it till we have to. So, yeah, there may be some things coming out, for sure.
I know earlier in the working session too, we talked about, so your goal is to sell, if we replace this equipment.
So we
sell
have
the old
6 that are 2 years old that came with the ladder truck.
Yep.
And we can get a good price for it, 'cause they're fairly new. And we have 3 that are 2015 models, so 10 years old.
So,
Get a little bit for them, so that's more money that we can.
so between selling those and then we also talked about just the fundraising gambling, throughout the city, gets a donation from the fire department every year to buy equipment or whatever. We don't quite know what the average usually is for a year. Is it possible that before next meeting, you could kind of get a better idea on those numbers? Just to help figure out, okay, if we were to finance this, how much can the fire department contribute between selling the old equipment and using like fundraiser funds?
It all depends on how many people gamble the rest of the year. I can't pull that number out, I have no clue.
But if you look at the last 5 year average,
Right now, today, we have to keep up to it monthly, we have to give away so much money. And when we do have that surplus, we put towards the city to put in our budget to purchase something that we need. So I don't know, I can't give you that number, because I don't have a clue.
okay, so we don't have any audit trail or like any kind of paperwork that says like what you guys have brought in the last?
I guess go back on old, it would be on the old budgets, on income coming in.
You know,
I think he's more interested in the overall gambling revenue versus what contributions were made. I don't know if that,
So the
I
gambling,
think he would have,
yeah, so gambling revenue, that really isn't legal to do that. You can give us a small percentage to that as a donation and do it, but that really has to do with donating back to the community.
Yeah.
Like last week, we had 5 seniors from Rockridge High School got a scholarship through the Gilbert Fire Department Relief Association. So we can't legally fund our pension on that, or we can't go and really buy whatever we want on it,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I'm just trying to find
I
anything
know.
that can help us bridge the gap.
Believe me, so have I been for the last 2 weeks.
another one thing I have, other organizations have raffles. I know the curling club used to support a lot of the curling club
And
raffles every year.
that's the same thing,
Pardon?
that's the same thing, it goes on to gambling laws of what you can donate.
With raffles too? So if you,
I brought that up a few years back.
really, so you guys can't sell that?
No,
I see they have those boot donations in Virginia once in a while, that's not legal either?
that don't go to the city budget, that goes towards all
It
of
has,
those
it has
sources.
no 501c3.
What's that?
Any of those donations have to go to charitable causes.
Oh,
They have to
okay.
collect- they have to-
and they run through
They go there.
gambling, they run through gambling.
Yeah, okay.
I think one of the other things that I'll add to the conversation is just a reminder that, so if we don't take action and we willfully know that equipment is not to standard, the liability and the risk to the city of Gilbert, first of all, there you question whether the league of cities would cover us from an insurance standpoint. And just worst case scenario, 1 or 2 individuals died as a result of that. The civil lawsuits against the city.
You're saying that the fire department uses equipment that is not authorized?
Well, I mean, we already know that
I don't
from
think that
a
they would
motion
do that.
standpoint.
What's
Motion
that?
standpoint is 10 years.
If there's a fatality,
But he's talking about whether the equipment that you use, equipment that is already outdated.
you can bet that you're gonna have a knock on your door the next day and there's gonna be a huge investigation into.
No, I'm talking about, would you use equipment that would be outdated or,
Would I?
yeah.
We are right now, and we had 2 failures, the last 2 structure failures.
That's what he's saying, is that this equipment it's beyond its lifespan. And so, I mean, the costs of the
the risk in dollars and cents to the city is possibly in the millions of dollars. And when you look at a cost of 217,000 compared to $1 million or $2 million, it makes my decision a lot easier. I mean, I don't like spending this kind of money, to be clear, I don't. But the other very significant chance is that we could have a major risk and put the city in real dire straits financially. So,
So you're saying we're gonna be able to pay for those to reserve?
Possibly.
that's
Budget time, we gotta look at.
we're gonna have a hard road to plow with the budget this year.
And I think we can keep searching for different, grants out there through the rest of the year. I mean, just because we purchased them now doesn't mean we can't try for some. I know the DNR grant is coming up, and my plan is to ask for that towards SCBA. I don't think that much, but any little bit will help.
I'd like to see us try for grants before we approve it, just to see if it's out there.
And then you're taking that chance of losing out on the ones that are in stock. Once these are gone, they're getting, even if it's this year, now you're talking more. And in the meantime, what happens if we, like he said, we're going in with these old air packs and someone dies in a fire. That's not only on you guys, that's on me too, as a volunteer fire chief.
I guess I understand the situation, we're really forced to buy these, but in the meantime, we gotta look at the budget real closely and see if we can reduce it by $40,000 a year. Hopefully, LGA holds up, and maybe fiscal disparity dollars will change, and it'll help us out, who knows?
It's, I feel like we've just bet on 57 black, and we're waiting for the ball to drop. So, but until the legislature gets a budget, we're not gonna know what our cuts are gonna be, if any, we're not gonna know what our changes to fiscal expenses will be, so.
Any more discussion? Call for the vote. Mike? Call for the
Councilor Rutowski,
vote. No.
Councilor Arn,
Abstain.
Mayor Overser,
Aye.
Councilor Skirvin,
Aye.
Councilor Conlon,
I want to say aye because I'd like to see some other things looked at before. I think we did look at most of them. I think, like I mentioned, cutting the force down, and not having 22 seats, maybe reducing it to 18. I kind of think those things should be looked at, because this is going to be an ongoing deal, for years to come. You're not going to be renewing them year after year. It's another $40,000 on the budget every year that we're adding. Besides all the inflation, it's just going to be unbearable for the taxpayers in this town, I'm telling you. It's bad. But for now, I'm a no.
Seeing said, we have a tie, the motion is passed.
Mention, noes, any ayes, and abstains. Name them all.
Rudy Protopchik, no. Paul Horn, abstain. Carl Oberstar, yes. Paul Skirvik, yes. Bob Bondman, no.
And come budget time, this may be a lot clearer which way we can go. Until then, you know.
By budget time, those bids are gonna be sold by to somebody else, and will be gone, and then next year will be double paid. They're on sale right now, they're gonna be gone by budget time, somebody else is gonna buy it, and there'll be no more to buy. We just messed it up. It's gonna cost us double next year, because you won't have any on hand to buy by budget time, they'll be gone. That's all important, it was to get it done now. Okay, moving on. We just cost ourselves a whole bunch of money and problems with one fireman getting hurt.
Well, Mr. Mayor, with that being said, I think it's up to the council, along with our administration, to put this at the forefront and find a solution before.
It's too late already, we could have 2 fatalities this week now.
We can talk about to the other fire departments in the next 2 weeks and make a final decision in 2 weeks. I'd like to go over there and talk to Fayl and see what they have to say about merging together and possibly reducing their force also. I mean, if we have 18 and 18, that's 36 people on a force that comes to every fire. I don't see the need for more people. And another thing, I don't know if you, on these fire departments, if you can have people that actually don't go into the fires. They could be on the fire department, they clean equipment, maybe possibly drive the trucks there, whatever, but they're not allowed to go into the fires. I don't know if that's even a possibility.
That's not something you wanna do with the safety rule. You, at Delta, we would never fly an aircraft with only 2 flight attendants certified to open doors and 4 in the back not able to do it. It's just, that you would never do that.
No, I'm just saying, if you had 18 that were available, you had 4 that who stayed around or had other duties that did not involve.
They all have to be
into a
fully
fire.
trained for the job.
Yeah.
That's too.
They may be
that's
trained
too
for
high
it, but
risk.
they may not have to do it unless somebody retires or whatever, and they move into that spot. I'm just
That's
looking
not
at
what the
different
safety
things
rules
and how to tackle this problem.
DNR goal landing agreement, Mike?
The agreement's in here, this is a grant we applied for earlier. It was approved at that point in time, the council approved it, but now this is the contract from the state and it's all put in place and, we need a motion to get it approved and move forward on the full-time project. It's in the packet.
I recommend also go ahead and make that motion.
Hey, Mike, I noticed under section 2 funding, the state shall not exceed $0,000. Is that a placeholder text or is that a typo? Under funding,
Typo.
okay. Do you know by chance what that number is supposed to be?
I had the grant number earlier when I looked at it. I would have them correct that before we sign the contract.
Yeah, this says we're on the hook for everything.
Yeah, no.
Everybody be okay to make a motion here to agree on this?
What is the city's cost of this?
I believe it was 10% on this one.
So we pay 10% and DNR pays the rest.
Yeah.
Of the 100,000?
Yeah,
And when this is all gonna happen then?
we're gonna start on it, this, if we get it approved, they'll start on it this, right now. I don't know how far they'll get this year, Carl, but
I think we can find $10,000.
yeah. The point is, we've already approved applying for the grant, knowing that if we got it, we'd have to approve the grant agreement. So we've kind of gone down the trail and we all agreed that is within the realm of affordability. We also have a $500,000 grant coming on structures like manhole structures and stuff. That'll be coming after this one, but this is one of the first ones that we have approved, so we've been down the road already. But still have to approve the contract.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
And I will get it corrected before we sign.
That's a motion.
I would second that as well.
Okay, moved by Counselor Skrillex, supported by Counselor Horn to approve the DNR boat landing agreement between the DNR and City of Gilbert, as with the corrections made in the agreement. And a proper review of the city attorney, again, I'm sure he did that already. Signing it off, I want to add that in there. He signed off, good to go. I mean, depending on the vote. No more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, David, are we gonna pass now on, any more discussion on that, David, again, power request, or did it just?
I think since we discussed it earlier and you wanted me to reach back to him and see if we can coordinate that with the actual construction, I should reach back to him before we make a decision. So I would suggest tabling it at this point.
I'll go ahead and move to table that request.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Skrillex, supported by Counselor Horn to a table request of the this power request to the city. Any more discussion on that?
If there's two lots over there, it would depend on this part of this lot.
It would be between the two.
We can, if you could move, go towards, whether it's a development agreement or something like that, that's got some concrete dates and, just have some, we need to have some kind of paper.
I like the idea of saying when we go, we're gonna build next year, but we wanna put power in this year.
Yep.
That might be a good plan. If we pull a building permit, so I'll talk it over with them. They're excited about the opportunity to build a retirement home here, and they come here every year. They're seem committed, but I think that Phil had a very good idea, and I'll ask them about it, see where that takes us. I'll bring it back to our next meeting to discuss.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Hiring the summer help for public works, we have applicant Dylan Deeney to recommended, correct?
Correct, we had extended that period because we only had two applicants. Initially, Dylan was with us last summer, and he missed the cut to the moment. He did apply, and that's who Sam would like to go ahead and hire. And as we're trying to hire a public works person, we can use the extra help, so to be affordable. I'd like to get that approved.
Okay,
I'll make that motion to approve doing these summer help.
moved by Counselor Pontiff, supported by
Second.
Counselor Bertosnik to approve hiring of summer help person, Mr. Dylan Deeney, as recommended by Public Works Director Sam Oliver and the City Administrator. Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right, additions to the agenda, we have permit requests for building a garage by Stephen Buria. We have the paperwork in front of us, I'm working on this.
Correct, we have all the paperwork in place. They bought a neighboring house that was abandoned and in tough shape. It's been they demolished it. They currently have all the paperwork in place with the county to consolidate those 2 lots into their parcel for their home. And they'd like to move forward with a building permit. They appear to meet all setbacks, and it's a nice improvement for the neighborhood. So,
Complies with all plans, zoning, Gilbert.
so we would like to go ahead and get a motion to approve it.
I would like to see that, but everything is in compliance, and the parties here, if any questions by the council, but if everything's in compliance, there's no need to delay this any further, or they wanna get this up and going. With contractors they have on, ready to go. So if everything's in compliance, as Mike has told us, I see no reason why not to, approve this request.
So I do have a question, just for clarity, so I see the new garage is outlined here, so the existing garage would stay.
Yeah, the existing one will stay. 100%.
I toured the property, I took pictures of it, I know where it's at. It's a done deal. I move to approve the
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilor Potocnik, supported by Councilor Horn to approve this permit request by Mr. Steve Maria. Any more discussion? Everything's in order, compliance, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. You're good.
Thank you very much. We'll make it pretty, I promise.
You're welcome.
We'll
We
make
could
it
sit
pretty.
here for 2.5 hours.
That's all right. Trust me, it was worth it. I've been waiting 23 years for this, so it was worth it.
Okay.
Thank you both.
You bet.
We need to approve the resolution number 2025-09.
And the reason we're doing that is that we already approved selling property. If we approve the resolution, we can move forward and not wait for them to have to wait for a meeting minutes to get approved before they can move forward with it. So I talked to the DNR last Thursday, and that was the workaround, so I had time to draft the resolution. So we've already approved that, but this empowers us and lets them know it's been approved, so that's why we did it this way.
When you read this, we might actually take a vote to make it also in compliance, okay?
You bet.
First, we need to have the vote. So, somebody want to move on this?
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-09.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilor Skirvin, supported by Councilor Bertocci to approve resolution 2025-09. Resolution authorizing sale of the Ridge Inn property. That sale is supposed to be corrected up there? Typo? On that resolution?
Carl, you're amazing when I say. I will be correcting before you sign it.
Either amazing or pain, one or the other. right?
No, it'll be, it didn't show up on stuff.
Amazing or pain, yeah. All right, any more discussion?
I do have a question on the timeline. So we get this in front of them, and then, because I vaguely remember parts of this, that the process for this property was like on a 2-year timeline to get done from beginning to end. I don't know where we are on that timeline right now.
Where we're at now is that we paid the first payment out of the city general fund. We owe 2 more payments, we owe 2/3 of the initial purchase price that the city made. But this should happen within this fiscal period, and we'll be able to pay off our remaining debt and have a little bit of room left over.
How much?
Yeah,
We don't
a
work
third.
the title. We all work it.
Yes,
Okay. So we're gonna be ahead of the payment.
yes, we are.
Got it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. It means everybody voted aye. All right, resolution. Who made the motion here? Rudy?
Paul, Rudy seconded,
All right.
all in favor.
Resolution 2025-09, resolution authorizing sale of the Ridge Ridge Inn property. Whereas the city council of the city of Gilbert has been working with the DNR to sell the Ridge Inn property to the DNR for the OHV trail system. Whereas resolution 2025-09 authorizes the sale of property parcels 060-0052-01176 and parcel 060-0052-01220 to the DNR for the amount of the appraised value of $82,800. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Gilbert, County of St. Louis, State of Minnesota, that the City of Gilbert accepts this offer and empowers the city clerk to take whatever action is necessary to effectuate the closing of this transaction. Moved by Councilor Skirvik, supported by Councilor Bertocci. Ayes, Councilor Conley, Councilor Skirvik, Councilor Bertocci, Councilor Warren, Mayor Overstar. Nays, none. Absent, none. Adopted by the City Council May 27th, 2025. All right, no other business, miscellaneous? Speak up. Motion to adjourn is in order.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Skirvik, supported by Councilor Warren to adjourn at 7:32. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Night, thank you for coming, adjourn.